The Montreal Canadiens, we've mentioned in our full episode, which hopefully you've already seen. But hey, if you haven't, you should probably go check that out on YouTube or wherever you watch our show. They're supposed to be an active team ahead of the NHL trade deadline on March 21st. I hope you all have it in your calendars. Trade deadline day, Monday, March 21st. A trading piece we did not really get into all that much during our full episode. Shea Weber's contract. I believe it was Elliot Friedman over the weekend on Sportsnet who mentioned the possibility of the Canadiens moving out that contract. It'll probably go to a team that will need to go to the salary cap floor. I mean, everyone obviously is looking at in Arizona. Wondering if the Coyotes or some other team would have the appetite to take Shea Weber's contract in any shape or form in order to help the Montreal Canadiens go forward with their aggressive retooling plans. Rick, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, everything has been so quiet on Shea Weber. The last time really he appeared was in Nashville for the retirement of Rene's, jersey. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him other than they're still on the hook for that three more years, I believe. Of his salary, and you'd have to seriously consider that management is looking at different options to try and free up that money. If it means putting on the long-term injury reserve, then I'm sure they're examining that. But I think this is somewhat of a complicated situation, and they're going to have to figure out the best way to handle it that's going to allow the team to move their desires forward in establishing monies that are going to be dedicated to the salary cap. Easy for me to say, but anyways, it's a difficult situation, and they're going to have to address it with Shea Weber. But I really don't know how they're going to go about it.
Okay, Jess, you go next.
It's just been so weird this whole season with Shea Weber, how nothing has been said. It's just he's not healthy enough to play. He's staying at home in Kelowna, and he's remaining the captain of the team. Case closed. I know Luc Julien from RDS said that he saw him at the hotel in Vancouver, so he sees his teammates during this road trip. You would hope he would make the trip from Kelowna to Vancouver to see his teammates. But yeah, the Canadiens have to address this, that they can't continue to sweep this under the rug and pretend like this is not happening. He's the captain of your team who makes a lot of money. Now, the difference in this situation compared to Carey Price's, which we spoke about during the full episode, is there are teams who need a contract like Shea Weber's to take on, as we mentioned, Arizona. And Julian, I believe, is your colleague over at The Athletic, saying that Minnesota could be interested in taking on that kind of move, that kind of cap, money on the cap. But to make that kind of move, it's the kind of thing that Kent Hughes got to do it now. Because you got to get rid of this guy because the situation's not getting any better. There's no update on his health status. He's not getting any younger. So move him as quickly as possible and then start building, this team after the Shea Weber era is officially closed.
Yeah, when John Sedgwick spoke, the assistant GM, a little while ago, he spoke about Weber's contract, and even though it's on long-term injured reserve, it's a headache. It's as he said, in a perfect world, you want Shea Weber playing. But it's a headache having that long-term injured reserve thing hanging over you. And, as Jess mentioned, Weber hasn't spoken all season to the media. From having dealt with him, it doesn't surprise me because he hates doing it. But I can't imagine the captain of any other pro sports team not speaking for the period of time that he hasn't in the situation that he's in. But yeah, I mean, with that contract, it reminds me of the Chris Pronger situation. Chris Pronger played his last game in the NHL in 2012, but his contract was traded to Arizona. It was a similar contract to Weber's. He was making about $5 million at the time, but in the last couple of years of his contract, he was only making $575,000, I believe it was. With Weber, it's the same thing. It's like a $7.8 million cap hit for the last 4 years, but it's only $6 million in actual money that he's going to make. So that would be appealing to a team trying to get up to the salary cap floor. So I think the Canadiens, as Cedric had mentioned, I think they would prefer to move the contract if they can and just have it be somebody else's issue. And for a team like Arizona or another team trying to get to the salary cap floor, basically, so for $6 million, you're getting over 4 years, you're getting a $7.8 million cap hit each year. So you're saving a lot of money for an owner, a team owner that's looking to save money. That's a lot of money he's keeping in his own pocket while still reaching the salary cap floor. But with the Carey Price situation, the Shea Weber situation, there are two elephants in the room that need to be dealt with. And I think the Weber situation could be dealt with easier if he is indeed not going to play again. And it certainly looks that way. There's nothing to lead us to believe that he hasn't played his last game. Jonathan Drouin sort of let it slip earlier in the season when Weber was in Seattle and basically said he had retired. I wouldn't be shocked at all I think if Kent Hughes can trade that contract, he will.
This is what just kind of drives me crazy with this. It's like, Shea Weber not talking, like he does owe it not just to the media when people are saying, oh, these players don't owe anything to the media. Well, they owe something to the fan base to just say, you know what, right now my health is not great. I need to focus on getting 100%. The best place for me to do this is at home in Kelowna, and I will let you know when I will rejoin the team, if and when, period, done, everything. Instead of just saying, you know what, he's got this stuff, he's not joining the team, and nothing is ever said. He comes to town to see a doctor, and it's almost like he came undercover, but the cameras caught him near the dressing room at the Bell Center. So I just don't know why they're making the situation way more complicated instead of just addressing it and saying what it is. And it's like, okay, we got it now. We'll move on from it.
Yeah, well, personally, I mean, as a media member, I don't care if Shea Weber talks to me or not. I mean, he rarely says anything. But for fans, I think fans, especially fans of the Canadiens, they love this team with such a passion. I think they just want to know, like, how's he doing? Like, are we going to see you play? We want to, talk about how he played through all the pain in the playoffs last season. The fans want to know. And as again, I mean, even for the Canadiens, I know he doesn't like dealing with the media, Weber, but just tell him, look, Shea, you got to do this. 20 minutes, take questions for 20 minutes, like what Carey Price did the last time I met with the media. And then it's over and done with. And just let people, fans care. Fans of the Canadiens care about these players and are interested in how they're doing. And again, I can't imagine the captain of any other team in any other sport being in his situation and not speaking for an entire season. But that's just the way Shea Weber is. But that doesn't make it right. And again, I think a lot of these players, I don't think understand when you're talking to the media, you're talking to the fans, right? And even if Weber's not on social media at all, if he was, at least go on Twitter and post a video or something so fans can see how you're doing. But again, from having dealt with Weber for a few years, he hated talking with the media. And so it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't, but it does surprise me that the Canadiens have allowed him not to speak to the fans.
Yeah, well, I agree with you guys. Like, what's the big secret, right? Like, just let everybody know what's going on, what damage is it doing, other than coming forward and letting those fans and people that are interested in the story. It's not going to matter one way or the other. It just people would like to know today, and unfortunately, that has been a big secret, somewhat similar to Carey Price until he came out, and it shouldn't be that way. And I don't know why they're doing it, because there's no reason for it.
Yeah, and the Carey Price doesn't like talking to the media either, or the fans through the media, but he did it. Imagine Chantal McAfee maybe told him, Carey, you got to do this, and he came out and talked. And I think one of the reasons is, Marc Bergevin had like a man crush on Shea Weber, right? He was like, he built this whole thing. And I think that's why, like, I don't understand why they didn't name a new captain to start the season if they knew that Weber was going to stay in Kelowna and never be around the team. If he was going to come to Montreal once in a while and be around the team, I was surprised when things were going bad that he never came to Montreal like for a week to hang out and just sort of talk with the guys and try and get them back on track. But why they didn't name another captain, if they knew that was the case, which is fine. If he said, look, I'm just staying in Kelowna, I'm not coming in, I'm going to do whatever I have to do here, fine, but then name another captain. So it's very confusing why they didn't name another captain. It's very confusing why Weber hasn't spoken, why it's been sort of the secret there. The way he played in the playoffs last season was heroic. I mean, when you think of the injuries he was playing through, like, I think fans would like to know, like, what was it like? Was he able to survive playing through all that? But I wouldn't be surprised if we never know, because if they do trade his contract, I don't think we'll ever hear from Shea Weber again.
We could do an entire episode on Shea Weber if we really wanted to. Maybe if his contract is offloaded to Arizona or Minnesota, which, my colleague Michael Russo suggested that. Just to kind of give a little Coles notes about that, I think it's because of the fact that almost $13 million in buyout penalties the Minnesota Wild have. acquiring his contract, Shea Weber's contract, would actually free up some space, obviously, by putting in an LTIR. Well, of course, that means you're going above the cap, obviously. They could help re-sign a guy like Kevin Fiala or get another free agent. There are so many things we could get into in a full episode of Shea Weber if we so chose, but we only have so much time with these bonus episodes and full episodes. So subscribe to the YouTube page for Montreal Hockey Inside Out for more bonus videos, for more full episodes. Subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out newsletter and visit hockeyinsideout.com to watch our full episode there as well.